Just share a camera.
You can if you want. I'd have to.
Yeah,
What are you
I'm
gonna
gonna
share?
show the camera. Why not? It's,
Oh, beautiful
let's
faces.
make
Let's
it
look professional.
decent.
Oh no, hold on. I need to turn down my camera resolution. There we go.
Yeah, exactly. Do like
240p. That should do.
yeah.
Actually,
I'm
I'm
gonna do it.
gonna wait until I've got it set up and it doesn't crash for me to actually share the link. Because I bet when I had the webcam.
I should get a new camera anyway.
What are we doing on Google Meets?
Google Meets.
Is that, I don't know, is that what you're sharing cameras on, or you're doing it on Discord?
What do
Oh,
you do on
like
Discord?
here in the thing, right?
Here you go. You can look at my.
Yeah. In the Discord, right?
You've been repping STORROR.
Yeah,
You can't see it.
You're repping STORROR. I'm wearing the Leave No Stone Unturned trousers at the moment.
Oh, they're just nice.
I fucking
I need to
love
get
these
I
trousers.
need to pick up a new hoodie from the new drop.
I just want more of these like dark wear type things. I love the shit.
Yeah, I need some black stuff. I need some baggy clothes. Like, Bloggy, Giles, don't mind, guys. Do you mind? I'll test them out for you.
Why do I have webcam and webcam 3, but I don't have a webcam 2?
Coffee's quite nice actually. It's walking to me. Let me fire up Unreal. So what is the first point of call today? I wonder.
Oh. What is going on? What is going on?
It's a session marker. I think the code works.
I think the code works. It'll probably be fine.
It does. I think. I hope. But we need to add transitions and stuff for that. But I could do that after we have the UI doing its thing. But I mean, I guess we're just setting up the general.
Transitions for what? The teleport?
No, all the teleports line stops the montages. I think we just got to set up the general pipeline so that in the code it when it just opens it up one of these. I think that already has that in one of his components.
Which one?
You have all the code to like open up a widget and whatnot, don't you? And add to viewport and everything.
Yeah. That's
beautiful.
That's all done in the comfort of your C++ class. No BP were harmed during the making of the actor.
No blueprints were harmed in the making.
Good. Don't hurt my blueprints. They're my children. I synced up the border. I need to go through and I need to set up an OBS scene for every possible way we run a stream.
Yeah.
Have one set up for Meets, one set up for Discord, one set up for like.
Reminds me. Session marker. This session marker. Where do I call that? Character inputs, don't I?
Share your webcam.
Nice.
So good.
D-pad up, D-pad down.
At some point as well, I've already started setting up the folders for it, but I need to go through and set up all of the enhanced inputs, move all of our stuff over to the new system.
Ah, I found the junior candidate to do the grueling work.
I actually don't mind doing stuff like that. Like tidying and organizing like that, it kind of feels like you're scrubbing your brain clean. It's good.
It can be nice. Like, so I remember those days I'll be going through the animations. And they're like, it's numbing sometimes, but then sometimes when you're just like, you're not in the mood to be thinking, it's quite nice to like put music on or a show on and just go through it one by one. Emphasis on sometimes,
Oh yeah, not all the time.
like once a year. It's like
Yeah. Speaking of which, guns, I think we need to adjust the animation again, so that'll be fun. I want to re-export the animations. Well, yeah,
I saw how it looked.
calibrate.
Furious.
That is still.
Well, re-elaborating.
Yeah, but you know that some of the mocap session, we got some wonky, the wonky back and the wonky,
Oh yeah,
shoulders.
the sensors are all over the place.
Yeah.
Oh,
See,
good
in
evening,
fact,
sir.
I'm not even sure that is the best set where to do the locomotion. We may have better sets. So yeah, I think before we ship 010, I want to have at least a day in which I go through the mockup data, and I really want to have a more a cleaner
Wait.
version.
Why did it drop the studio link? I didn't want to drop that.
Mhm.
Whoops, I copied the studio link instead of the stream link.
Yeah,
Whoops, daisy.
where is the studio link? Ah, right. Okay.
There we go. Hey, what's the trap plants? Right.
Are you sure
Oh,
the feed is good?
of course I am. I think it's good.
Oh yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Cool, a slacker. Right. Where do you want to start?
Session marker.
Session marker. So, what I've got at the moment is it comes up like that, and then when we what my keyboard shortcuts. So when you use it, it like lights up and then disappears.
With the with the middle bits, they fade off at like different rates.
That's that would just be tweaking with numbers to get the gradient exactly right. Also,
Okay.
what is a little bit annoying is we need to use dithering to like fade
You need to use what?
the fade. So you see how it's sort of like almost cross hatching, like hashing on the way out.
Yeah.
So if I set it to translucent and it fades properly where it's calculated in the volume, when we move it, we get a weird parallax effect between the opaque and the translucent parts. Pardon me. But if we set it to masked and use a dither on the mask, so it does it like sort of pixel by pixel, we don't get the parallax effect, which is better, but we get this weird fuzzy effect, which is annoying.
Hmm.
No, but like if we set everything to translucence, does that align it to the mesh?
Maybe.
Let's try that.
I hadn't really considered
And
that.
I just love the pause. It was like you could see, like I had no clue what you guys are on about, but that was funny as fuck. It was just like 10-second followed by a maybe.
You say hello, can you hear me? It's like
Yeah.
it's my
Yeah, it
microphone
is.
working.
No, because I'm the same. It's like when you're like and you just go, I guess, like perhaps. Oh, that was funny.
Best place to set this. I think trap lines. Much appreciated. So already at
So, Dado, can you show me the code to add the stuff to viewport? Let me add it into the session marker.
Yeah, of course.
And then what I'll do is I'll check that in for you.
Yeah,
And then
let me
you can
share.
grab
No,
it.
Check what in, sorry?
if you
What I'm
want,
gonna do is I want,
we can go through like doing the thing together, and so
yeah.
walk through.
What I'll do is I'm gonna add the code to add the widget. Well, basically, I'll expose. So, what is it that you're? That's actually, this I should know. Is it a widget that we bring up, or is it an
Yeah.
actor we spawn? Like, what is it?
It's an actual skeletal mesh spawned in world space next to the player as a child actor component. Currently.
So it's an actor, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I expose to as a U property in the session marker, a property of like actor, or like I say 3D actor, right, or I'll name it whatever, as just like an object as a U property in the character blueprint. So then when you click on the session marker component in the character blueprint, you can just like select whatever actor you want to put in there. And then I can
because you
just
can't put actors in there. So I can't access your session marker component moment because it doesn't exist in the content browser. But if I go through the hints one, which is what I've basically been using to like hack it.
okay. So what do you do?
Oh, we killed the hint one against.
All right.
But,
Well,
don't worry.
It's fine.
just
Okay,
fine.
this is working just as a proxy for a component. Then that's fine.
Yeah. So I just want to see what you do.
So because you can't add like actors and stuff in here, this can just hold functions and variables.
No. I wouldn't add it there. I'd add it as a like this wouldn't exist anymore. I'd add it as the actor. I could add a reference like a as a U property value in So if you go to the
okay, so because what I do at the moment is character.
So if you go to the
component,
sorry, I'll let you.
The component we've got here, like this HUD component, I used to pull off and I'll like run like open session marker or spawn 3D hint or whatever. And what that does, that spawns the child actor component, sets its location, and then it goes through and it runs the logic for like rotating it in the curve and animation, things like that.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is,
yeah.
if you see my session marker component there, if you click on it, if you see how like wait on the right side, that you wouldn't even need to drag it in. It just if you could delete you'll literally have to drag nothing. You wouldn't even need any reference in the character blueprint. It's just on the session marker component. There'll be a value thing here, like something similar like that. I think I have something as a U. I don't know if I've checked in my changes to this. So ignore that for now until I've actually checked everything in. But you'll have a U property value there, of something that's gonna be your like, I don't know, your actor to spawn or actor thingy for whatever. Then that's what I'll do all the things to, and then you'll just pass in there. You can specify what 3D actor you want to add.
Okay.
So then, all the spawn, all the set visibility, that's all in code. Like you wouldn't even need to drag anything out. So all this will move code, and all you have to do is, so you see where you say class.
Oh yeah, so this is because this logic is shared between the hints and the session marker. So I use this to pick which one. So what I've done is I've got this 3D control master, which is just all of the logic related to this thing, and then I've got it I've got two children, the hints system and the session marker system. So I use that to differentiate which one it should be pulling up, because the session marker is set up with like everything hidden except for the D-pad, because that's always going to be the same, so we don't have to fuck around doing that procedure.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, whether it's a class of the actor or like whatever it is, I'll just expose that as a property, and then you just select it, and then it should just do all the whatever it does.
I've just synced all of this to dev, so if you wanted to grab it just to look at and see how it's
let me see
what it spawns in it. You try to do a front flip trap lock. Yeah, so there's no mechanic for flips. There's no dedicated mechanic for flips at the moment. There will be at a later date. We've got a couple front flip animations in off of a Kong, like a cat pass, cat front, just for fun. But it kind of, if you've got the right speed and wall height when you do a cat pass, it will just do like a cat front. But it's more just as like a little Easter egg, just to get people excited. Pardon me. Yeah, so it spawns that, and then it pulls off of the reference for that child actor, and it does. I've got two, so I've got one that is run tutorial and one that is run session marker. And then just pick what the desired display is from it.
Okay.
And then for the session marker, we've got that, and then there's this third function, session marker action, is when we pick if it was a travel or a place. So you'd call session marker action. This is an enum. You just pick either travel or place, and then it will do the like flash and destroy for either the travel or the place.
Does it do the button press? I didn't see it doing the button press.
No, because it's square on at the moment.
So it does it, but you cannot see it.
No, I don't think I connected the like animate component function for it because it was just square on. So I just saved the logic and didn't connect it in that run.
Okay, so I think really so if it's just a case of just all I'm doing all that, so in terms of bringing it up and playing the thing, is it like an animation we play on the actor, or because all this here I've got like a travel, like, so to simplify this, because we have two inputs. One is like to play, so we check if we have a component, right, and then we just call the functions on the two. Then inside the function we do all the checks, like if you got a session marker, but that's all within the travel and all within the place functions themselves. So they have those two separate functions, so we bind them to whatever buttons we want to do, and that's that. So all I need from you here is to know what you're doing to the actor once it's spawned.
So we've got all of these vector curves, and there'll be a fuck ton more at some point, but this covers all the bases we've got now, which describe the motion of the input. And then, so X and Y I'm using for thumbsticks, X and Y motions, and then Z is for anything, just like 0 to 1, like on-off states, so buttons, things like that. And this is mapped into a control rig and a blueprint. So it's actually live. It's like a rigged skeleton that's moving in real time. There's no like animation, there's no like pre-made animation except for that curve.
Okay, so and you access the curve from where?
So in the 3D controller master, in where is it? In animate component, it gets so I've got a data table that holds what curve we want it to use. So it pulls from that, and then it just scrubs through the timeline of it based on real time since we started.
Okay.
So in the data folder, this data table holds what technique or display we want to do. It's just an enum. What vector curve it should be playing. In here is the list of the components that you want to be visible when you do it. Anything that's not listed here will be hidden when it plays. But if you want it highlighted, then you just come down and tick this little box, and it will then highlight it to be as like an active component. And then this curve mapping is where you map the XYZ, which component it should be applied to. So for the climb, the Z axis of the curve is applied to the left trigger to animate that part of the skeletal mesh. These should actually be set to none. Not that it matters, but
okay.
That's right. That's
right.
right. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Cool. Okay, what I'll do first is let me just get it so that it's sport. This is all checked in, right? Like your actors checked in.
Yeah, but only as of like 10 minutes ago or something.
Oh, okay, shit. Okay, let me. Okay.
Because to be fair, it wasn't stable until this morning, so I kind of held off on checking it today.
No, that's fine. Yeah, because I want to basically the way figured the way I want to approach it is like for each character that we have, right, or the character blueprint, like drag in the component we want, and then we add the customization for that component. It's just like the properties that the code will then use.
Yeah.
So the code don't care, like it wouldn't know what the hell it's using, right?
Oh yeah, that's a point actually. So in the what I've got going through the hints component, when I spawn it, I'm using get owner, and to then cast into the player character. So it doesn't care which player index it is. It's whoever owns that
Yeah,
instance.
no, that's correct. So what was it? Yeah, so to follow on with that, it's like we expose, like when you drag it in, we'll expose the properties of like what like actor class of the session marker you want to spawn, or what curve, whatever you want, or if that actor class holds everything you need for the session marker. So if you want to change anything visually, you just change that. Let me get that property going and just spawning in your widget, and then we'll go from there in terms of making it fade in and whatnot.
Whilst you're doing that, then just quickly, because I don't think I've shown you this yet, Dado. Because I don't have that like Niagara spark when I hit the time trial anymore. But I needed something so you have feedback, so it does a little like flash and then fades out.
Yeah, I think that's much better because
Yeah, that's
it's
cool.
more in line with the vibe of the. Yeah.
I
Oh,
thought
that's
it'd be
pretty
alright.
cool. It did a little step, like jump step, and then yeah, that's really nice.
And it does actually, it kind of happens a little bit too fast and faded for you to notice, but it does actually fade top down as if the lasers have turned off and they're powering down.
Yeah, but that's nice. Like that's something that, yeah, well.
Oh no, press the wrong button. I was trying to cat pass up it.
Oh, this game is too slow.
So you've killed the hints component, have you?
Yeah, it's gone. Hints,
Are you
no more.
like you're not using it for anything? So
no, yeah, but this is what I wanted to basically go through tonight, and so because the hints component was shared between the session marker and the what it would have been the tutorial system, right? So so I think like that setup is actually nicer now because now in the like if the tutorial needs the 3D mesh of the controller, then we would just have it would just be a property of the tutorial to say, oh yeah, it's got the actor, right, in which that we can use. So that will that will avoid that fork in the dependencies, right? Because yeah, everything will be it will have only a linear dependency and not like forking. So let me check in most of my stuff. And then we start destroying stuff.
Nani? Yes, put some music on. But not for the stream. You're not allowed it. So, out of curiosity, if we was to revamp the Hits website and stream through that, could we play whatever music we wanted? Not that like it avoids copyright, but we maybe just wouldn't get noticed.
Again, revamp the what?
The Hits website, and if we stream directly through that, could we get away with playing music because there's no bot looking for copyright strikes?
Well, how can we stream from a website?
Like just embed the stream in the Hits site rather than go through YouTube.
Yeah, but you need like somebody to know that we are streaming from the website. Right?
And we can tell people.
Huh?
We could tell people. I just meant like, would it dodge a lot of copyright strikes on music because we wouldn't have a bot looking at our streams checking for copyright strikes?
Oh yeah, but we will have absolutely 0 people watching on the stream, and we will need to pay for the bandwidth to stream.
True. The website does need redoing though.
Yeah, Giles is redoing the website for the game. Well, we never had a website for the game, but Giles is doing a website for the game. And I think we almost carbon copy that into. I mean, the website for Hits would be, of course, slightly different, but at the moment, like Hits is mainly making STORROR Parkour Pro, so it's yeah, it's basically 1-to-1 at the moment. So it's I think it's nice.
We don't need to make it unique until we start expanding our empire into other game projects.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, guys, I need I want to update also the team bio because it's 2 years old and some of the people there they're not in the team anymore. Did you send me a profile picture that we can use for the team bio?
I don't know if I have, but I can do.
Yeah, if you like, we're doing a live podcast with the Amazon guys on next Monday, I think.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's quite nice that they ask us to be. So basically, they do a whole episode. They said each episode they invite one game studio, right? So basically, it's all episode about us, right? It's not like we are a guest into. It's just the whole episode, right? And yeah, they ask a few things, and the team bio will need to be updated because we need to get. I don't think even David is on the website, right?
I don't think
Can
so.
you imagine?
Yeah. I think we should put you and Dave, of course, but then I think we should put Sally as well. And well, Raj has always been the me.
I found what photo I'm going to send. Oh my god, where's that fucking file now? What? 4830. Okay, yeah.
And you can also choose your job title.
What is my job title?
That's up to you. We are in
Breaker
a
of all things working.
professional breaker.
Professional system breaker. Breaker of systems.
My job title has always been the Grand Fromage.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's a good one. Jeez.
You know, on
Sorry.
on LinkedIn, I always I had forever. I had a very silly page, right, in which I took the piece of everything, right, and at some point, they said, "Oh, can you actually write, a proper bio because I need the reference and blah blah, right?" But I kept it forever, right? It was forever. It was extremely stupid, right? So my job title was always Grand Fromage, right? And I still receiving up to today letters from recruiters that say that, oh, based on your job title, Le Grand Fromage, we have an opening at, I don't know, XYZ.
What the fuck are they offering you based on Le Grand Fromage?
Yeah, basically, they are looking for a Grand Fromage to add to their team. That is the most automated email you can ever get, right?
It's just some cheese factory up in the Swiss Alps.
This company is really looking for space Grand Fromage. And they all say, right? They all say, we cannot tell you the name of the company, but can you tell us if you're interested? I mean,
we can't tell you the name of the company, what you'll be doing, your responsibilities, your job title, or your pay. Are you interested?
Exactly. How does it work? I mean, how can I be interested into something that is... But what I found very hilarious, I mean, I don't have anything against recruiters. Some of them, I got a bunch of recruiters that helped me when I first came to England. So, I'm very grateful for them, right? But what was ironic is, now the big techs that they go huge round of layoffs, right? Google, Microsoft, Facebook, all of them, they got thousand people off, right? And most of them were internal recruiters. And what made me laugh is that they were desperate to find a new job, and they were asking the network of LinkedIn to help them find the job. And I think, but you are a recruiter, right? So that is your job. So I mean, you don't see the irony in there, right?
Yeah, it's not really a great recommendation if they can't find themselves one.
I mean, getting fired sucks, of course, but yeah, I wouldn't say that on LinkedIn if you're a recruiter, right? So.
Oh, have you played with the machine learning deformation yet?
No, that's what I want to do at some point.
Is it not working, or you just not had a chance?
Oh, it's a bit you need to go through Maya to retrain the thing, and it's it's a bit nice.
I thought it came pre-packaged with some training for you.
Well, actually, if you want to have a look at that documentation about that thing, do you want to?
Not particularly.
Yeah.
If you'd
Because
like to
I
read through some of
really,
the worst documentation you've ever seen in your life,
yeah,
sure, I'll get right on that.
yeah, I saw that and I thought, what? I mean, yeah, in theory it does, but yeah, I was just reading through it and it's like, can do this thing through Maya, and then it looked like you can only do that thing through Maya. So, goodness.
Sounds about right. Hmm. Do we have? So all of the action mappings we've got in the project that are exposed in Unreal, are those all the ones we use, or are there any that are like hidden?
Oh, there will be plenty of them that are not used, for sure.
No. But all the ones we do use are exposed in the project settings, aren't they? There's no like hidden ones that I won't be able to find.
No, I don't think so because that didn't work. Yeah.
Oh yeah, now I need to make a context then.
The const.
Um, Okay, because I'm just doing like the enhanced inputs whilst I'm waiting at the moment now.
Yeah.
Do we want to set a
I get
rule
it.
on? So these like modifiers and triggers and stuff, like whether it's done on down, on release, etc. We can set it in the context menu, but we can also set it in the actual action itself. Problem is, I'm not sure if setting it in the action carries it through or if this overrides it.
What is that context menu thing you said?
So, so you need to make an input action here, which is just a data asset for whatever the input action is. As far as I can tell, we're basically just using it as a fucking name. Then you make this context list, which holds all of the actions. So this means you can now separate them into like parkour actions, UI actions, driving actions, like whatever. And then you add this context to the player controller when you want that controller to have access to these action inputs. So if you want,
The player controller.
yeah. So it doesn't have to be SPP; it can be any player controller. Enhanced. So you get this, bless you, subsystem, and then you add a mapping context. So you'd add like parkour context, for example. Oh, actually, this is a perfect one. So the time trial context to reset. You don't want them to be able to reset the time trial if they're not in it. So by default, you maybe just wouldn't give them that time trial context. And then when you start a time trial, you would add that context to the player controller. And that means whilst the trial's running, they have access to the restart input. Once the trial's finished, you then remove that context and they no longer have access to that input anymore.
Okay.
So you can pick and choose, or if you have different movement states that use the same controls, so like walking, swimming, driving, flying, and they all use the same base controls. You can swap out which context is added and which ones aren't based on what situation they're in, and that way you don't have this weird string of logic where you're being like, do like right trigger is jump unless you're swimming and then it's dive, unless you're driving and then it's accelerate. It's like you don't have to do those checks. You can just remove contexts.
Okay.
So the context holds the list of all of the actions, and it's also where you apply which input makes the action happen. So I've made like the parkour mode one, but it doesn't hold like a button or anything. We add it to the context, and then I'm like, right trigger and left mouse both trigger parkour mode. So yeah, and then you can add like, is it only whilst it's held? So right trigger whilst it's held is in parkour mode.
Oh, well, like this replaces like press, release, no?
Yeah, so this replaces this like project settings thing.
Yeah, but like there you don't have like there you had some callbacks by code, right? That they say, oh, when it's pressed and when it's released, you do different callbacks.
So I need to it's coded action. Okay. So I need to check exactly how it works, but because it's to do with when it triggers. So where do I get? Can I just parkour?
I think that will change. That will change the logic, right? In the player controller, or in the player character, which is got most of that, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how you want to do it. So when you these enhanced actions, so when you call the action, you get all of these different states. So when it's initially triggered, when it triggering occurred after one or more processing ticks. When it begins, starts, whilst it's ongoing, once it's cancelled, and once it's completed.
Yeah.
So basically, they give you a metric fuck ton of stuff with it, which is probably going to change how all of that's handled. But I'll leave that up to you. For me, I just want to know, do you want me to add any triggers and modifiers that we may or may not need? But if we do you want me to add it in the context list or in the action itself?
1 second. Like, what is this? Sorry, where are you now?
So when it's got this like blue controller icon, this is the action itself, the enhanced input action. When it's the stack of yellow controllers, this is the context list.
So PK mode is an action?
Yeah. So this would be the input action. So it's enhanced input action. So that's the you add the context list to the player controller, but you call the action. You don't call the list.
Yeah, it's a bit like it works now. Like in C++, we got the callback of when that thing happened. What function are we gonna? Yeah, I guess it's gonna be we need to port that in C++, right? So, but what was the question? Like you go like that.
Well,
so trigger and modifiers, right?
Yeah. So the triggers. If any trigger qualifiers exist, the mapping will not trigger unless that is met. So if it's like corded action, whatever corded actions. Oh, that's cool. So if it's corded action, you would then set the corded action, and it would have to. This first action would have had to been met before it allows you to do the second, so you can string them along. If it was like on the down, it doesn't trigger unless the button's down. If it's on release, it doesn't trigger until you release the button rather than when you press it. Things like that. The modifiers like dead zone, negate it, smooth. Oh, smooth the input over multiple frames. Interesting. Whatever swizzle means.
Oh, that is
Man,
when you
that
wanna
one
swap.
sentence, that sentence
Yeah,
made me feel old.
that is when you want to swap X and Y axis, right? It's just
Right.
visible.
Okay.
Um,
So, but yeah, so you can add these on the action itself, and you can add it in the context list. The weird thing is
I
that
don't
if
understand the difference.
neither do I.
Uh,
But if what I have noticed that is that if you add it to the action itself, it doesn't show up in the context list. So if I was to add swizzle or shizzle to the to the
Swizzle
action,
for shizzle, man. Dizzle.
and then go through add PK mode, it doesn't come up in the array of
really?
modifiers. So I don't know if it's being used or not.
What really it is? Because it doesn't
No,
show up.
clearly it is because it's here, but it's
I,
misleading because it looks like it's not.
yeah,
Which
no, but for
which would
sure.
which means I'd be inclined to apply it again. But then I don't know if it's stacking and it's now swizzling twice. If we're getting double swizzle.
Which is goes back to original. Now I think I really don't know. There must be a reason, but from what I can see, I would like to see a overall view of the same thing. So I will do it in the yellow bit.
In the list, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. It makes more sense as well because you can set the button here. So you can actually see what you're applying the modifier to.
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to check. I'll turn off the
So
swizzle.
the trigger and modifiers they are different from like okay that is per
Oh yeah.
per
So you could do right trigger and left mouse have different. One could swizzle or one could not swizzle.
what is player mappable?
If true, then this action key mapping will be exposed as a player mappable key.
Doesn't really tell me more than the name itself.
Hey, welcome to Unreal. Options for making it. So it's got metadata, a name, a display name, display category. Okay. I guess maybe this supports. Oh, player mappable input config. You can use this input config to create the default mappings for the player to start with in game. And then. Wait, it can be used to add multiple U input mapping context. I'm just going to open. Right. So a player mappable can hold multiple context lists. So you could use that to easily add several contexts at a time to a player if you know that you need to give them more than one in one go. And you can set their priority here. So is player mappable? This action key mappable will be exposed as a player mappable key. I don't know. I'm just going to avoid that flag for now.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't-
let's some
I fully understand what it is. But right, okay. I'll just start. I won't do I won't go too in depth with these. I'll just basically start copying over what we've got into here, and then
Yeah.
as and when you want to work out how to move your current controls over to it, then they'll already be there for you.
If you open a file called I think a human character inputs CPP, you will see that it has all the list of the mapping and if it's working on release or press, that kind of stuff.
What did you say it was called?
No, it's called like that, but I think it looks like wonky. Let me check. Oh, a human character player input.
Oh,
Okay.
a human character. Okay.
But I think you should really search without the. But by the way, yeah, like that one there, right? So if you see the second, like if you look at the bind actions, right? Yeah, the second bit is what we use to decide. See, that is not, that is what I don't understand, because how do we have two different callbacks from when it's pressed and when it's released? Like if you go back to the blueprint, right?
Well, so I was reading the documentation for these, and Unreal recommends that everything that is a unique action should have its own action mapping.
Okay, so yeah,
It's how
that's
they
not too
recommend.
bad. Okay, yeah.
So rather than it being generic things like D-pad up, D-pad down,
Yeah.
it's like the actual thing it's doing.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So if you go back to the code there when it does, yeah, I guess, right, that would be action climb, and then it would do. No, actually, it will do exactly the same, but instead of press and release, we will have more. Like we will have hold. What the other one? Tap, blim, bam, boom, bam.
Swizzle.
Blam,
No
boom,
swizzle.
Yeah.
Is the climb swizzle?
No.
Yeah. So
No
you'd have these different ones. So you'd have like on press it would be start, on release it would be completed.
No. That's another thing. No, go back to the mapping there. Yeah, the trigger. Look, yeah, because that is press release, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we will have press release, but then now we have all other 10 of them, right?
Oh, so here, for example, where we've got climb press and climb release, you'd have those as two separate actions. So like start climb and stop climb.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. Like, so we will see. We need to see how this bind action will be substituted with that advanced input thing. Yeah, but I would expect that we can easily. So basically, all this list we will need to replace with the equivalent of whatever new mapping is,
The system. Yeah.
is having. Because
okay,
like
I'll work off this list then rather than the project.
actually, and then if it's like an axis, right? Like let's say that you choose a trigger, a trigger or a thumbstick, right? Oh, that is an axis, right? That is interesting. Okay. So because the axis is different, right? The axis is like always
it'll be returning a value rather than sorry, it'll be returning like how much is depressed rather than 0, 1.
Yeah, exactly. But Yeah, but okay. Have a look at the right thumbstick, for example, because that is a 2D axis, right? How do they do that? Ah, okay. Does it go X? Okay, so the axis is only. Oh no, okay, 2D axis. Okay, show me the options there. Oh, they're the same. Show me trigger. Ah, yeah. Then I'm not sure what this thing is because. Okay, I mean, we need to read that.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, it could be interesting using. I don't know, but then you just like. So I guess then, like for this is where you set the dead zone for the thumbstick.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What's FOV scale? Apply FOV dependent scaling to input values per axis. What?
It was incorrectly calculated in UV4. So if you want to keep the bug as we had in UV4, just use this one. If you write a lot of code to fix our bug, then just keep it.
Yeah, this implementation is intended to aid backwards compatibility. Should not be used by new projects. How considerate of them. But what is FOV scaling on an input?
I understand the words. I don't see how that will make any sense, right?
Don't you just love that when you read a whole sentence, you're like, I know every one of these words individually.
Yeah.
I don't understand them together.
Did I show you the message that my eldest daughter sent me? Like, actually, sent to my wife like some time ago when she was speaking like Gen Z stuff, and like every word, like
yeah,
they didn't make any sense together.
Yeah, I remember that.
But I think like reading a real documentation is a little bit like speaking with a Gen Z text message, right?
No, the text messages make more sense than the documentation.
Probably.
Because it annoys me that you'll hover this and it will give you like a little 2-liner thing. And it's like, fair enough, because it's just a little like pop-up hint. So you'll go to a dedicated web page where it has the same 2 lines.
Yeah. But like, if that thing is called, gamepad right trigger thumbstick, like the help will say, this is the help for gamepad right thumbstick.
Yeah.
That's it.
Ridiculous. Well, there's some cool modifiers in here, though.
Yeah, if we can understand how that will ever work. I can understand Smooth. Smooth would probably do a lag, sort of like a low pass filter to smooth the.
Just smooths it over multiple frames, yeah.
Yeah.
Scale by delta time. Multiplies the input value by the delta for time that frame.
Yeah.
What would you use that for?
I'm not too sure. I think maybe that you will use it if you need to, like, I don't know, if you press forward, right? But you go like you go a potato machine and like you only receive the input like 1 second later. Like maybe that will go forward a lot more because I don't know, you have, I mean, everything should be time dependent anyway. This is why, like, every tick function you got the delta time already, so we're already using the delta time to correct the, to be time aligned. So maybe that is if you don't do it, then they will just scale it for you. It's something about that, but really can't really see how that will work in practice because yeah, that's something that you just it's so dependent on what what are you actually doing. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure what these triggers are now. I thought I understood before, but
So these are conditions that have to be met for the event to fire. So for a corded action, you would then feed it what the chord action is, and it would have to trigger. So if we had like parkour mode as the chord action, and we had this event was like cat pass, it would be this parkour mode had to be on before the cat pass event could be fired.
right.
So you can set limitations on it using the corded action. Like the hold is it won't fire until it's been held for a certain amount of time. So you set what the time threshold is, and it
Okay.
will wait that before it fires. Hold and release. You have to hold for a certain amount of time and then release, and it will go. Pulse, as long as it's held, it will keep firing at intervals. Tap, you have to do it in a certain amount of time. You have to do it quick enough, otherwise it doesn't count. So
If we go double tap. Yeah, that's a shame. Combo? What is combo?
Combo.
Mm-hmm.
All actions in the combo array must be pressed within a time frame to trigger.
Maybe you can do double tap there.
So the action that must be triggering to progress the combo. Oh shit! That's cool.
This is a proper combo, like
yeah. So like if Tekken, Mortal Kombat, if he's doing a whole
yeah,
combo,
yeah,
or this might be a cool way of implementing cheat codes. To be honest.
yeah. Usually the cheat codes are left, right, up, circle, square.
Yeah, we could bring back the old cheat codes.
Yeah, exactly.
Bring back the Konami code.
Yeah. A cheat code for Tetris or whatever.
So I wonder if corded action. Because that
But
has to be
corded action and the combos aren't the same thing. Like, is the coded action just a combo with one element in it?
No. So the the corded action is it must be triggering. So this would have to be triggering, like still actively triggering for PK mode to fire.
So basically, right? PK mode is no more. We have cut pass. I mean, should we map? Yeah, should we map the cut pass? Okay, I mean, can you try to map? Let's see if this system is powerful enough. Can you try to map a reverse volt? And we have a reverse volt input and see if we can do it. That is your assignment for the night. Create a reverse volt input.
The night, please. 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay, so I'm gonna grab another coffee. And
I thought you was gonna say you were gonna set a timer. I was like, no, don't, fuck off.
The timer begins now.
Coffee, and then I want to see the reverse volt.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. Bye.
So chord action. The action that must be triggering for. So that implies that it has to exist in the list first. Okay. The plot thickens. So there are things that you need to set in the action. First or not? Oh, reserve. Okay. So parkour mode is right trigger, axis. No, not right trigger axes, just right trigger. We don't have different degrees of parkour mode, do we? That would be cool, actually. I wonder if that would be a cool way of controlling power in a vault, David.
Say that one more time to me.
So you know the right trigger would give you a value of like how much it's been pressed.
Mm-hmm.
Could you use that as a power meter for when you're vaulting?
Yeah, I
Rather
mean,
than it being on a row?
we'll probably end up doing something like that, to be honest. Yeah. Defo.
That'd be cool.
Defo. You can see us definitely doing that.
That would be a real high skill level thing to control that.
Mm.
I don't think I've ever seen a game do that before either. Oh, actually. Oh, fuck. There is a game that uses the left trigger. It's a first person shooter, so you aim in with left trigger. But as you pull the trigger in, it brings the gun up to aim. So if you hold it halfway, he's only holding the gun halfway.
I see.
I can't think what game that
I
is now.
see.
Okay, so boom. So we're in parkour mode. And this would be a hold. Trigger 5. No. Holding. Ah.
I knew that's what I had to do. Mother trucker. Is equal to this.
How a ton do we want to get into this? Let's go maybe over
Spring
the
on
top.
component.
So
Then
enter
we want
parkour
to
mode.
move you.
And yeah, whatever. I don't care.
Spawn. Yeah, it's
Exit the other mode. So exit parkour mode. So right trigger pressed. I'm really bringing us down. That's down. We go. Ah. Okay, Unreal's maybe a little bit smarter than I give him credit for. Ah. So, yeah, that makes sense. Exit parkour mode.
keep relative, keep world, keep relative. Okay.
So then reverse vol is going to be a vector 2D. Is it? Right thumbs.
Okay.
Oh, that's kind of cool. I like that. That's cool.
What do you mean, bro?
Ah! Fuck, I just shot my finger between the chair and the desk. Son of a bitch. So. Huh. So it would have to be a combo
You see? What the fuck?
because no, because the combos has to be actions. Oh,
There we go. Touch the component there. Set relative. Okay, hold on.
Done it.
so not yet.
Slacker.
Hmm. So can I add? Oh, you can add multiple triggers. Interesting. So corded action. So it would have to be in parkour mode, and then it would have to run the combo. And if at any point we exit parkour mode before it's complete, it cancels it. Okay. So then these need to be added. Uh, Do they have to share the same context? Probably not. The whole point is they don't, as long as both contexts are owned by the player controller. So let's keep this clean. And uh hmm. So right thumb. Honestly, maybe just make this. Oh, how granular do you want to get?
1, 10, 20.
Doesn't matter too much for now. We're just seeing if this does work the way I think it does. So count. Yeah. Okay.
Ready to down. Let's set all this stuff there. Yeah, that should do something.
Oh, that's only for the get, so we don't. That's okay.
It should do something. Let's have a look what's going to happen here.
No, how does it read? Also, no, I should really be setting this in. Yeah. Let's try this.
Okay.
No. So, okay. Without these. So, go, but never looking. So, don't. So, as this time, we were looking at something that would go solo. Hmm. Turns ongoing. Trigger. Ah. Okay. Oh, that's kind of cool. Okay. Pause.
Nice. Okay. Okie dokie. All I want to do now is buy this actor reference, basically. Okay. Pretty easy. You know what I can even do? And only open it and then here. We only at the menu if you actually have stuff to open it to.
Interesting.
Right? Oh, it's that one. Nice. Okay.
Doesn't
Easy
have
peasy.
direction.
I have to check out what those values are doing, but what I want you to do is have a private reference to that. Right.
Hmm. Ah, so forget about. How do I? No. Okay. So, how do I- I don't want to be doing it in the blueprint there. I want to be doing it in the context list. How do I? Hmm. Hmm. Useless. God. Patience.
Ready to transform. To transform.
Hmm. Direction is multi-directional. Hmm. Ah! Like a gun. Shut up. No, that just. Hmm. Right, Dado.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I'm working on the assumption, I'm guessing, when you said, like, make a reverse fault work, here, for example, you wanted all of the logic for it to be done within here. No, like, blueprint fuckery.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Can't be done. it can for simpler inputs, like a cat pass, but not for something like a reverse fault that goes back and forth on itself across an axis. Hey, what's up, Clive? So I made 3 events here. One for the right thumbstick hitting the left side, hitting the top, and then hitting the right side.
Mhm.
So the 3 points of the semicircle. But the problem is both the left and right, they don't care what direction you're going with it, whether it's positive or negative. It's just if you get past the dead zone, it fires, and it would output in a float, whether that is -1 or +1. So you would have to do comparisons here to make sure it had gone left, up, right, not left, up, left. For something simpler, just like a cat pass or a speed step where it just flicks in one direction, we can do it all within these events. But for a more complicated thing where it needs to follow a shape and go back and forth on itself, I don't think you can do it in here.
But why would you do it like? How do you distinguish a cat pass with a dash volt?
Oh yeah, you wouldn't. You'd have to compare the float output of it. Or sorry, you would set it to not to 1. Oh yeah, you set it to 1D, sorry, and you'd compare if it was positive or negative float.
But you cannot do it from there, right? You still need some code to do it, right?
Yeah, you can't do comparisons on values here. Oh, also, I worked out why you can set triggers and modifiers in both places. So if you set because if you set a trigger here, then it will work universally on. So for like enter parkour mode, for example. Oh no. Yeah, sure. So I've put pressed, so it has to be the trigger has to be pressed past the halfway point for it to fire. So if you're just like accidentally touching it, it won't fire. And if I just leave these as none, both the right trigger and the left mouse button abide by that rule. But if I wanted the right trigger and the left mouse button to operate differently, I could have that be the default and then be like, in this edge case with the left mouse, because it operates slightly differently, I know that it needs to be a different value or something like that. So now this one that doesn't have anything added will use the default from the action, and this will use the overriding custom for that one case.
Okay.
So then if you have multiple buttons that can do the same thing, you can pick and choose the rules. But if it's just one button or whatever, then you can just set them as defaults. Or if they have a shared thing, then you can set like anything, any common triggers or modifiers amongst all of it. You could set in the action, and then only get a piece by piece. You'd set in the context list. But yeah, so I don't think you can describe the vault motion, the trigger motion, just in these actions. You would have to do some coding in Blueprint and comparing the float values.
Yeah, no, I mean that we do that in code, so okay, that's fine. You know, that we'll leave it at that then.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, only if it was like, yeah, just an input that we can. It'd be nice if we could map that sort of inputs, right? But
Well, you can use it
So
for so.
how do you do the combo then? Like the combo are just binary thing. Like you
Oh,
can
so-
have a combo that is
No,
up,
so
down, and left, right?
so the combo is based on the actions. So the action would have to be fulfilled. So if they were like button presses, like A B X D, something like that, then you'd have like the combo action
Yeah.
A, action B, action C has to happen within a certain time frame of each other, and then it works.
Yeah.
So in theory, like if I could get these events to fire and compare directions all within the actions, this left up right would work. But I can't compare the floats without some coding.
So there is not a single event or an action that is up on the trigger, right? Sorry, up on the thumbstick, right? The
No,
action
because
is
the action is y-axis past the dead zone, regardless of whether it's up or down.
oh, can you put the dead zone as +1 or well, like
No, like so here, for example, I've got the dead zone as just like 0.75,
mhm.
but that's points. Well, actually, maybe if I set it to axial rather than radial. No. No. So that doesn't really care about the direction. That's just the absolute in any direction.
Surely,
If it's 0.75 out from the center.
are you sure? Like, if you do axial and then you do +75 and -75, it should work, right?
Let's try. Undo. Bring those back and then axial minus 0.75. Axial. I'll drag this over here so I can see it. No. Wait. Why is the right one just firing all the time? Oh, right was supposed to be. Ah, that's interesting. So the one that was set to minus 0.75 was just triggering constantly. Because, yeah, it doesn't.
No, but that must be upper threshold. It should be -1, right?
Oh, okay.
But I mean, or the other way around. Lower is, I don't know, whatever it is. But can you just do it one event? Can you just show, yeah, one?
So, like that.
Yeah, but just show one. Like, can you check? Like, can we have an action which is a go up, right? So we know that is fulfilled, right? Because here we got too many moving parts, right?
I've got actions here, so left and right that I'm looking at. So if I was to like, so you see like, so left is the one that's set to negative, and as soon as I touch, whether I go left or right, it fires constantly because it's in the minus. Right, only works when I get past 3/4 of the way, but in either direction, in either x-axis direction.
So when that zone, it doesn't look like maybe the right thing, but just go like, what are the other options there? Like, oh, yeah, what is response curve?
Add a simple exponential response curve to input values. But the thing is, I'm pretty sure because, like, so for example, if I put negate here, so it inverts input per axis, it
Yeah,
doesn't
that-
actually affect the event. What it does is this float comes out negate inverted.
Right.
So the actual triggering of it stays the same, but the value that it outputs changes.
So I mean, the dead zone would just be like, oh, it triggered, but the value is 0, something like that.
Well, the dead zone is like, so when I've got it set to 0.75, it has to get more than 3/4 of the way out from the center before it would trigger the event. If I do anything
Yeah.
less than that, it just doesn't read it.
No, but that does make sense because either is a modifier or is a trigger, right? So
Do you
if
know
it's a
what?
modifier, it should really.
I agree with you, but I mean, when it does affect this actual triggering. This doesn't light up until I get past 0.75.
Yeah, but I don't trust that thing there. Can you put printf there? Or print? Yeah.
So, just for right. So, what did you want to test? Did you want to output the value? Sorry.
Okay, yeah, let's output the value. So what are you doing here?
So, I'm moving the right thumbstick around. And if I just move it within that first 3/4 stage, you can see the camera's turning, but it's not outputting anything. If I get past 3/4, it starts firing that and printing. And it looks like it's mapping everything from 3/4 to 1, like 0.75 to 1, and it's remapping that to 0 to 1. So that 0.13 is actually 0.88.
But I saw some negative values there, right?
Yeah, so that's when I go to the left.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing left on the x-axis and right on the x-axis. But the event's firing the same either way. It's the value itself that's outputting differently.
Yeah.
And that's the bit that I can't compare in the action list. That's the bit where you need the logic.
Yeah, but the event is fired, right?
Yeah.
But is the event fired only if that dead zone modifier condition is met?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's not really a modifier, right?
It's a
That
trigger.
is a trigger.
Yeah. But they've listed it in modifiers for some reason.
Yeah, I don't think that is correct. I think the so what is the trigger here?
I haven't set one.
Okay, what is the option for trigger?
Ordered action combo now. Or release press pulse release tab. So like if I was to set it to hold, for example, I would have to move the thumbstick and then it would have to be out of the 0 spot for a certain amount of time, whatever time I set, before it then fires. So if I set that to like, yeah, so let's call it a second. There you go. So you see, like, it waits a sec. Once I get past the point, it waits a second and then starts firing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so go back to the list of triggers, right? All the actuation threshold is that like whole time threshold, just do is 0, right? And then can you set a positive and a negative value to that?
So let's just leave it in positive for now. And then. So. Wow. I mean, it's printing both ways. Also, that's not waiting for 0.5. That's just firing straight away.
Yeah, there is something sus about that. Like, can you kill the modifier, because the modifier is a little bit sus.
Oh, I've already killed it.
Okay.
There is no modifier.
So can you set like minus 5
On the actuation?
Yeah.
No, it's going either way.
All right. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's weird. That I mean, it looks like. Okay. What are the other options there? If you do on press, okay. What are the options on press?
So
All right.
Right.
Actuation
only
threshold.
fires once the input exceeds the actuation threshold. And it
Yeah.
only fire once. Oh, that works.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, under half that's not firing. Once I get over 0.5, it fires.
Okay, just do minus 0.5 then.
Ah, yeah, but see, like even as plus 0.5, I can go either way, and it fires both times.
Oh, it fired both times.
Yeah,
So
look,
that's
like
not working.
0.9 minus 0.6 tutorial. Yeah, 1 minus 1.
All right. Okay.
Yeah,
But
you
in a way,
can't.
it's okay because we got the logic already anyway. So
Yeah, you can't seem to pass sign. You can't seem to pass notation information into it. Sign information.
oh, by the way, that consume input is the reason why you couldn't use the mapping in Blueprint and C++, because the first one that go called, it will consume the input and it will not pass it down. So if you don't consume the input, then you can have that action down to whoever is requesting it, which I think for the most part it shouldn't really consume the input, I guess, but that depends on how we want to structure it.
But yeah, see, it's weird because that's almost like you can control that in 3 places, because you can control the consume here. Sorry, 4 places. You can control the consume here. I'm pretty sure you can control it. Okay, you can't control it here. So you can control it in the action itself.
Yeah.
You can control it by, or you can semi-control it by ordering the priority for the context. So it would work its way down. And you could
Yeah, but
control
even
it
if
by...
it has the priority, if it's consuming means that it's never go.
Never past it.
Once it's read, it's gone.
Okay, yeah. But then also you can add and remove context. But I suppose if you've got multiple contexts active at the same time that use the same buttons for different things. Yeah, fair enough. Okay. So we only want to use enhanced input actions for button presses then, really.
Yeah, I think exactly like we had before, right? Yeah.
Because anything where you're doing maths on the value, you're doing that in code. So like walking, turning the camera, parkour mode, all of that you're doing in code on. But you
Yeah.
manipulate the values.
Mhm.
Okay. Oh, also, it's quite nice as well. Not that I think you'll ever need it because you always do it in code. But so once you've done the enhanced input action, you can call either the event itself. So if I called like right, so that's what we were looking at just there. But if I call just the value, then it forgoes all of this shit and it just gives you the value that it's outputting.
Ah, okay. I mean, that's quite handy if you.
Yeah, if you don't care about the actual triggering or anything, you just want the value and then you operate off of
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
and what I found as well, so in the action itself, you've got the value type here. So you pick if it outputs a ball, a float, vector 2D or
Mm.
vector 3D.
Mm.
And then that will change what that value that we were just pulling here is, what type of value it is.
Mm. All right.
I don't know if I want to do that over easy. Maybe. UI across. No pointer, get your across.
How's the stream doing? Who we got in the stream? It's been a bit quiet one.
Turn a component.
If you are on the stream, send a message, like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Scream and shout.
Share, like, subscribe, write a review, buy the game.
So, okay, so in this list, you've got like move X, Y, like X, Y, and that. Do you still want an enhanced input action just for the event to trigger?
Yeah, basically, instead of like move X, no, one sec. Why that? Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, no, that is map 101, right? Yeah.
Oh, so I recreate all of these one to one.
Yeah, but like for example, climb, press, and release, I guess is a different event, right?
Well, I've done. Yeah. So technically, I've done more than that because I've done like an enter PK mode and an exit PK mode.
Yeah, that's cool. That is for the
Yeah. And then so the enter is on press and the exit is on release. Okay.
Yeah, and I think that yeah, we need to see how what is the enhanced input thing for C++ is. What's the interface for that?
They do have a load of it in their documentation for them.
No, yeah, I mean we're gonna, David can find out in like 5 minutes for sure.
David can do what?
Everything. We've got no.
Sounds
we're just showing faith in you, and you're like, I don't trust it.
That's
dodgy guys.
Turns around. And then we say.
So can't remember. Oh, we don't want any of these to consume either, do we?
If we manage to spawn the UI actor,
Well, I'm gonna merge my changes, okay, guys? That means that I'm gonna overwrite your Doge.
No. Okay.
It's for the best.
It's for.
And then
Is it?
I can start
so there's on a menu.
my
Wait,
No,
camera
no, just up.
move, camera
divide.
look. What's
And
what's camera move Y, camera move X, camera look Y, camera look X?
we spawned the UI
I
actor.
thought you
The
didn't want people. I thought you didn't want people moving the camera.
Sure.
You found the secret cheat.
Didn't
That
oh,
one. That one.
Yes.
No, that one is the thumbstick.
Yeah, player camera move.
Yeah.
But then you got
No,
player
it's not
camera.
moving the camera. Is
You got player camera up and right for the looking, and then you've got move Y and move X.
yeah. No, it doesn't move the camera.
Oh, this moves the player. This is the left and
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Then,
yeah.
oh, that's
But there is
badly-
another one that moves the camera, but it's not that. It's not that one.
Is that not badly named?
Well, you need to speak with the French guy.
Just making people up to throw them under the bus.
That that animator that we have.
I respect it. I respect it.
Bloody. Destroy UI actor, spawn UI actor, nice. And then we can be like, draw UI actor. Probably make that void actually. Void there. There. Need a const. Oh, can be made const. Beautiful.
You've got so you've got a control here for input walk pressed and input walk released. Is that
We can control position.
like for slow walking? Is that like a modifier to make you walk slow?
Which one?
17.
Yeah, that is for the keyboard because the keyboard doesn't have the axis on the
Right. Okay.
thumbstick. I mean, we could have an extra, a button that is just force you to walk in the controller, like the left shoulder, whatever. But at the moment, I don't think it's wise to do it. It's not a wise thing to do. Every time I do squatting in the gym, my legs are shattered.
Good man.
I don't do much anyway, so hamstring is like they're just broken.
It's not really a gym session if you didn't do legs. If you can walk
I
out of it,
always
you're
do
doing it
legs.
wrong.
I always do everything,
Uh-oh.
every session.
We're gonna
like,
tell I did
do
numbers
all of
today.
them.
What was that, dude?
I skipped out my gym today, mate. My legs were feeling great.
You
No
skip
leg.
legging day,
Every-
legs day.
Every session, whether it's legs or not,
Is
you
le-
should finish on box jumps.
God damn.
I do
I'll
like.
break my knee by the time I'm 25.
Box jumps is a one. Box jumps are my
just
Bible.
have
I
movies.
live and die by box jumps. Well, I did when I used to go to the gym. I'm fat as fuck now. Very why?
too much effort for me. I prefer
Yeah, but
like
it's such a good
low
exercise.
and tall, and yeah, I mean squats are fine, but my legs are on fire. After I finish, well, the day after they're always like.
It's usually the next morning. Oh no, not the next morning. The one after. Next day's okay, and in the morning after, you're fucked.
Yeah. But I don't really get it because I do it every single day. So why is that?
Fair. So you've got here events for like the different face buttons on the D-pad. So the unreal recommendation for the enhanced input actions is that you don't use it for generic things, right? You use it for a specific event.
Yeah, I mean that's always been like a 50-50 stuff. We started in which we just say, oh yeah, this is how you move the camera. This is how you this is blah blah, right? But then I found out that it was a lot. Like the problem with the approach is that let's say that we go the Y button to enter first person view mode, whatever, right? So then you want to press the Y button for something else, right? And it's a lot easier to say, well, you press the Y button or whatever, like the X button, right? And do something, like do something with it, like just map, like the code wants to know. I don't know, like it goes 50-50. So I always go back and forth with that because sometimes it's very convenient to say, "Oh, you press the D-pad, right?" So just do something with it. But yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Like try to map all the functions that we actually use, right, and see how they behave. Because some of them will be empty.
Yeah. So what I'll do is, because I'll have different folders for different contexts, and for the ones that are just like face button D-pad, I'll just put them in the generic folder.
Mm-hmm.
And then anything specific will go in the others.
Oh no. Me. Return UI. Correct. It's the right way to do it. What do you mean?
How's the session marker stuff going?
I've done that.
Yeah.
I'll just clean up the code. Oh yeah, I got it like spawn in your thing. All you gotta do is put in a class. I think I might expose all those relative transform stuff you want, so you can for each one change how you want it to look. Because I don't like the look of basically. I don't want to have any arbitrary values. So here, like I've got like 105 and 240 for the translation, all this stuff here. So I don't think the component code should have any. Well, I don't want any float values at all in here. Like there should be just no code.
Okay, then the numbers that are there at the moment, can you set those as the default for the exposed ones?
Say again.
So the exposed ones, do they have default values, or do they just always default to 0?
Yeah, but I'm just gonna keep them as like 0 vectors. You'll have to set them in your
But because if you the numbers I've got in at the moment are specifically for it spawning off to his right shoulder and not colliding with him.
Yeah, but that's for Josh, right? So you could make another character and want it on the left shoulder and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
we shouldn't like having the defaults. How do you put it? Like in that case, that should be done in the character blueprint where you specify, I want this character it to be on the right shoulder, so you put those values in there, like rather than
Right.
having. Because in the context of the session marker, that means nothing to it, right? Like, why is it 240, Jimmy? So if I just say zero vector, it means you know that's an initialized value. Yeah, rather than having
Okay.
any value there, because theoretically,
Well,
yeah.
okay.
So,
In that case, then, where's my folder? Oh, it's in UI. Do you want to make so this controller rotation? Do you want to make that a transform instead that holds location and rotation?
yeah, that's what I'm doing. It's going to be a transform, but
Yeah.
you'll specify. So it
No,
is a transform now,
So
but
rather
you'll
than
actually specify attachment rules. And the only thing I'm doing that I'm considering keeping is the attachment rules. But even then, I might expose. No, that's cap. I'm going to expose the attachment rules. I'll have defaults as all as keep relative, but I'll expose it all so you can like customize the component basically in the player character.
I have a very strong suspicion because I remember it was a lot of like me working out how to get it to work correctly, and I'm pretty sure if you don't use those attachment settings, it just fucks off into the distance somewhere.
Yeah, but yeah, and that was still like irrelevant to that.
Yeah.
I'll just set them all. Like we can default it to that. That's no issue because I mean I don't mind doing that. But I will set them
Okay.
as like they should be set in the player character blueprint.
Fair.
So that yeah, it's just.
But so what I was saying about the transform is rather than exposing it for when you call it, do you want to actually make it part of the data table by making this transform, and it's just it you set it in here with the rotation, so then when it spawns in, it just spawns in.
What is the? Because I'm. Why do we need the data table? This is what I'm. Because that feels like we're creating a dependency across like the data table, then holds information about all the other components, right? Like shouldn't each component just do its own thing and we customize each one to itself? Because I'm like, if I can expose you and anything you wanted to customize about this session marker, whether that's, I mean, really the only thing customizing is, but if you wanted to be like delay, all that stuff, I could expose all those variables to you, and you could be like, okay, well, player character blueprint, I want a delay of 10, and but you know, like whatever, like you wanted to do, and that way it's like a self-contained, fully customizable node that you can plug into anything, and it doesn't have a dependency anywhere. It just works on, and because I mean, even now I have a spring arm component, but what I will do is I'll set like component to attach to, and you can set like a type so you can be like spring arm, and so then that will then look for that component to then attach it to component of that actor to attach it to it.
I mean, I guess so. It would be all of this stuff that you'd have to expose, because all of this is required information for every time it does something.
No, because
Every time
so all of this stuff isn't that just in the class of the actor that I'm exposing? No, like if I say like spawn actor and do whatever, right? So if I say spawn my session marker actor, right, and then I can just be like spawn that, and then when it's spawned, it does whatever it does. And then and then I have that actor object reference. So if I want to play like do an animation or whatever, I can do.
The thing is, because all of this information is used in various places, and it's used by like all I store is the I store two variables. Not even two variables. I store just the data table, and then when I call it, I feed which row of the data table I want. And as and when it needs it, it will look up and pull the information. Otherwise, you'd have to store all of this as variables.
But we're storing it all now in the data table. So the data table, so what is it doing? What is it? Just the information that we want for each different thing?
Yeah, so it's like which vector curve to play to animate it, what components are and aren't visible, and their material attributes. How do you want to map the curve to components to animate? Pardon me. It's mainly like it's all kept here to keep it all tidy and organized in one place. Because then
Okay.
I can just click through which ones I want to work on, and then if it's like, so like if I'm making a new row that's very very similar to the cat pass, I can take all of the information over and then just tweak like one or two things rather than having to do it all from scratch every time.
Okay.
Because
So
you could expose all of this and feed it in, but would it not be more convenient?
no, yeah,
Easy to work with?
none of this should be exposed to at all. So what I'm wondering is like the session marker component didn't know any of this.
No, the session marker component doesn't. The 3D controller
Yeah.
master
So
does.
like, so in terms of what we're feeding it, what here do I need to? Is it not? Is there not like a class that will handle all this stuff?
You need to feed it this display enum because that's what it uses to look up the data table. So
Yeah, but if the session marker starts looking up a data table, that's the problem. Like it shouldn't look up a
no.
data table because then it depends on the widget. Because then it is the session marker is then linked to a data table, which is linked to all these other stuff.
Well, no. So because so how I've got it at the moment. So in this like hints component, when I call the spawn 3D hint, it will do the spawn and place the controller, which is where you're feeding it the class. And then off that reference, it pulls the run tutorial function, which is where you would feed in what the desired display is. So you would just be passing this back through it, rather than actually like the component itself. The session marker component isn't looking up the table; it's just passing that information through to the master.
Okay. So run tutorial. That is what changes the class stuff. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so the run tutorial is in the master. So that looks up the data table, gets the information, it sets the materials, and then setting
Okay, yeah.
this fade.
So that's on the actor. Yeah, so that's completely separate then.
Yeah, but this would need to be
The only
passed
thing this
through.
component here needs to know is the class, that class there, right?
Yeah.
And then to then do the function from that class of whatever I need to do, to trigger it.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah, so because like for the session marker, because when you open it, you feed like the session marker controller class, and then run session marker with the desired display being session marker, and then I've got like session marker action, which is when I then pick and choose travel place. But I suppose you could have two separate ones: one that is always travel and one that's always place. But yeah, that's why I was saying like I don't know if I've set it up correctly as to how you want it set up in the component. This is just how I've got it functioning. Whether or not it's right.
Okay, because I'm thinking here, if we can basically have the component, it's like the component I spawn a UI actor. Like it doesn't even care about, it doesn't like, although I'm calling it a session marker, it doesn't know what the session marker is theoretically, like to an extent, right? It's just going to be like, okay, well, there's a actor that needs to spawn, and then I spawn the actor. then I can do like, I guess it depends how much we want this component to do. Like, do we want the component to be triggering all the fades and everything like that,
So
which are
I've got
unique to?
so I've got the fade in, animate, fade out. All of that's being controlled inside the actor. I'm just using the component to. I'm using it for the player pawn to talk to that actor and like. Sorry, not the player pawn, but like the player controller, so you, to call that like, hey, I want a tutorial to play now, or I want the session marker to open now, and the component is just passing that information through. That's how I'm using it, rather than actually controlling anything. The actor does all the controlling. Technically,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
actor
okay.
doesn't need any of this component. The component's just using it to shout at it, basically.
Yeah, yeah. So the component will have some reference to some actor that it needs to spawn for the UI, right? And then
Yeah,
maybe a trigger, for example, that it like whatever that it needs to call or something like that. That is like spawn this actor and then do this thing.
yeah,
And then the actor does whatever then it needs to do, right? The actor does its own thing based on whatever
yeah,
actor I'm spawning, blah blah
yeah,
blah.
yeah.
Like, so then then when I use my component, I can be like my component then has like travel, place, whatever it is, right? And then so my component will have like travel, place thing because it does with the C++ backend. The actor that it uses, it will create it and will spawn it, get rid of it, whatever. The actor itself, yeah, because there's a disconnect, like with having the UI actor separate to the thing, because yeah, data seems to be stored in a like there's a couple different places that they all feed into like different points. So like if I give it the actor class, I then need to tell it on the actor class to do something else, which will then act on that based on, but then that also links back to the input that I'm pressed.
I mean, I suppose you could, rather than have this like you spawn it and then you call run session marker, you could just have this run session marker be on the begin plane, the actor. Then all you'd have to do is just spawn it, and when it spawns, it just runs because the session marker is always going to be running.
But then,
The session marker.
yeah, yeah, and then when I spawn it, I can tell it.
Yeah.
Well, because so basically, what I'd like it to do is basically when I spawn my actor, right? It does whatever it needs to do, like brings up the thing, right?
Yeah.
And then when I tell it to do something, whether it's place or does, my C++ can be like UI actor, do the place, whatever it is.
Yeah. Like call the travel place function.
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah. Place animation or whatever it is. Because they're just animations, really, right? And then it places it and then destroys the actor, like gets rid of it or whatever, like fades out. Because
I mean, it's
basically
kind
the UI should have no logic beyond the UI. So
it's kind of already set up for that.
okay then. Okay, cool. So to give you, so I already have the actor, the actor reference. So wait, the class reference, so you can just specify that session mark or whatever.
Yeah. Because this is specifically the session marker child version.
Yeah,
Which
cool.
is
Yeah,
set up
that's
for that.
perfect. That'll spawn that. That's no issue there.
So then
And that session marker child, that is just the appropriate window stuff, right? Is that correct?
the appropriate window. Oh,
Does
yeah.
that have the correct display and stuff? Like it has only the right buttons and
Yeah. So it looks like that. No. Oh, the casing should be hidden. Oh no, that's because I merged. Yeah, okay. I just need to update the material. Yeah. There you go. That's because I made a skeletal mesh change and I forgot to update it.
Okay, wait. So if I have this class, this actor here that just has what I need to see, all I need is to just spawn this. That's it, and I can do all my fades and stuff in the C++.
Yeah, I guess.
Like
So,
what is it the data table does? Like what if, because if I'm
So-
here and I'm like I want to blend in and out, those are the fade in and out, right? That's it, right?
so when it comes in, so it searches the data table based on the desired thing and sets which like struct data it is from the row. So I use that to check material slot names against what ones you've listed in visible components. So if it doesn't exist, then it will set it to a zero opacity material. If it does, then it will set it to a dynamic material that we can fade in and out. And then when we come to actually animating it, so I use the curve mapping data to map where the vector curve should be, which component the vector curve, so which part of the skeletal mesh the vector curve should be applied to. So it keeps looking up the data table. It does a load of checks when it first sets up, and then once it's started moving, it doesn't need the data table anymore. But when it first spawns, it does a load of data table checks.
Okay, cool.
So we search.
So this is like this is the base class, the parent class, right? The
Yeah,
master.
this is the master.
And then the session marker and controller inherits from that with just
So I guess we'd
set
have. So rather than like have run session marker in the component, we just have it like.
Yeah, so but yeah, basically so I
Like
want to
that.
basically get rid of so if you go to your actual hints component, I don't want to I want to get rid of, I want to just have
You want to get rid of that thing.
first. Yeah, because then so that like creates a that thing there where I'm like then get another class. It's like I have to
So how do you want to? So when we called from the component, when you call open session marker, you'd feed in this class, it would spawn happy days.
We'll spawn the marker,
When you call session marker action, whether it's this one that's both or if it's travel and play separate, it doesn't matter. How are you going to handle this reference to the session marker control, like to the actor that's been spawned? Because that's why I store it when I spawn it.
Well, I have it because this object reference, right, that's the controller itself, right?
Yeah, but you're feeding it a class reference, not an actor reference.
No, but I create an actor object. That's how we spawn it. So
yeah, that's what I mean.
Here,
and then I'm storing that rather than searching it when I need it.
okay, so then you do from there. You do session marker action.
Yeah, which then picks based on whether it's travel or place. It highlights. It does the whole like flash the color and then destroy itself.
Okay, so okay, cool. Okay, okay. Sorry, okay. So Blooper is confusing me. So okay, yeah. So no, sorry. Okay. So we have the thing, and I still the same thing. That's my UI actor, right? So that's that object reference of your as rebuilt controller master.
Yes.
That's your session controller.
Yeah. It's only because I because it's taking the master name when I dragged it out. That's why it saved it.
Oh yeah, but that's confusing because it's not the master. It's itself. It's just the master. It has the same it's a child class.
That's just bad naming practice from me. It's because I made this first, and then I've gone in and I've renamed like this is hints, this is session, and I haven't gone back and renamed this bit because this was never. This was just to like talk about it. This was never going to survive. So
Okay, cool. Okay,
That's whatever
so
we need.
that is the controller actor itself. Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
And then so we on that. So this is all fine. So we have the UI of that, and then this run tutorial, all that stuff. That is all going to be inside the thing. That's all cool. So all I need really is for the session marker one is place. Is this place and travel, right? Those are the two I care about for the
Yeah.
session marker action. So I just care about this session marker action thing
Yeah, which is
based on
which is
which takes in travel / place.
If you want to use that as an enum, if it's cleaner to separate it into two, then we can. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. That's fine. Okay. So okay, yeah, that's cool. All we gotta do is just create a bit more of a connect the component to the UI a little bit more. And be like you can have a different one. So we get the sub actor of whatever we do, and then we get the actor class. Hmm. Mhm.
What's tickling your brain?
No, I'm thinking of doing that call of like UI actor do something. Because it's not in code. That
This bit.
basically, if I because what I'm thinking is what I would then do is cast it to
That's fair. Well,
like
this
type.
session marker, this function exists in the actor. I'm just calling it, so you can call it from wherever you want, as long as you can get the reference to the actor. Call it from wherever.
Yeah, but when I it doesn't know. So basically, what I did is when the session marker, it doesn't know what like class it's using. It's a subclass of an actor class, right? So you can have any actor theoretically. So if you changed what actor you were using or whatever for the session marker widget, you could. Because so like I was trying to create the separation between the UI and the component. So the component isn't determined by the UI, like if that makes sense. So like what the UI is doing isn't like, and what the component logic is doing is different. It's sort of just being like UI do your thing, so you can make whatever changes you want to UI, and again logic in terms of transform, like teleport, all that shit. But it seems that we might need more of a connection there. So which is fine.
It's fair.
It just means that okay, that's cool then. So then the actual thing has a UI. So the session marker needs to have well, it does anyway, but needs to have a UI actor class. That's cool. Can I get this? Can I get your blueprint class in my C++? Because then I was like, I'll cast it to that function, cast it to that type, basically. Well, I wouldn't even say subclass of actor. I'd be like, you need to have this type of okay, basically, because then you'll need to have. So what it should be, what we need to do is basically that 3D controller thing needs to be a class, and it needs to be like an actual class. Which is that just a
This
is
is an
that
actor
actor?
reference.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, well, object reference. So
No, your sorry, your 3D controller master, is that a class or an actor?
oh, it's an actor.
Okay,
Parent class actor.
actor. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird how there's definitely going to be translation problems here when you and I are talking about it, because so it's an actor because it's possible to place it in the level, but it doesn't get treated as an actor until it exists in the level. Whilst it's in the content browser, it's an asset, which is class. So whilst it's in the content browser, it's a class, and as soon as it exists in the level, that instance is an actor.
So let me try.
There's also something you can do, which might be easier, let me just create this real quick. So if I was like 3D, actually let's go specific session marker controller class reference. So, oh no, that's just for getting variables. Yeah, no. Can you cast to? Well, no, that doesn't help because I'm just no. Spawn active. Oh yeah, you'd use it for like a search to return the actor. Okay. Oh, I thought you could cast directly to it. Yeah, no. Okay. Wait, the fuck?
Surely you don't need anything from the blueprint, right?
Why has my Unreal just crashed?
Yeah,
That's fine. I don't know what I just lost.
basically I want to eliminate any logic in Blueprint there, like in so it might just be a case of moving all of that to the session marker component.
Moving all of what? With the fades and stuff. And the fades and the animating.
Yeah.
But but the thing is, it's shared between different uses. So like the session marker and the hint system share almost everything. They're just
That's fine, but we can have a base, so we can have like a class, right? So if we had like so basically we have like a UI class, right, which has all this information, right, and then we have our session marker, UI, whatever.
But that's already what I've done for it though.
Yeah, but I need a C++, innit?
Oh, right.
Because I don't know. I might be wrong. I don't know if can I access your Blueprint classes like that?
See, I'm inclined to say that you can. Like, I'm inclined to say that you can access Blueprint, but I can't access C++.
Well, no, you can definitely access C++.
No.
Because all the like A actors, A character, they're all C++ classes.
Well, yeah, but only if they're exposed. But I think
no, but like any character the actor you created, that's a A character, A actor, which is a C++ class.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, I think anything I make is already exposed to you. Anything you make, you have to choose to expose it to me. So surely you should be able to.
You cannot like in C++. Like what you should do in order to get the C++, like get the blueprint is you should start from creating a blueprint that is a C++ class, basically.
Okay, that's
and making that a children of that, right? And then
because then I'll because then in my so your like 3D controller, whatever, we could then say like each component will have like the session marker controller or the whatever it is, right? And then that I can just do all the logic for that inside the. Oh, there's no way. I've done all of this in the wrong place. There's no way. No, I haven't. I've just named it shitly. Okay, thank God. Manager, not component. Fuck. Yeah. So if we have like the base class as like a blueprint C++ or whatever it is, yeah. With all your input stuff that you need, and then the session marker one has the stuff relevant for that. Like it takes the parent class of the 3D controller to make its own class. Then I can be like, this, but we just make a class of that, right? And then I can be like, okay, well, create actor, like have an actor. Then we don't even need to expose anything in the blueprint whatsoever, like in the like, then we don't need to have any U properties exposed at all. I'll just be like, oh, create a session marker, a UI class, and add it to do a fade, add it to the view, like, do you know what I mean? Like spawn the actor, add it to do the fade in XYZ, do this curve based on whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
It's then it's like, even if we ported this session marker over to a different character or project, it'd still just pop up in the same location, blah, 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 all that stuff. On whatever character we put it on. And use the UI that we wanted to use of whatever type. That we might need to visual of that. I need to, not sure what that, but that's the one thing we like. Yeah, I just need to access the class in C++ basically to then be like, call this function of this class that I define myself.
So, in order to access that blueprint class in C++, like one of you two needs to basically redo their classes. So, if you look at how I do it for the player character, for example, the player character is I define a C++ class, right? A human character, right? And the player character is a blueprint that the parent is a human character, okay? By doing that, like you have the best of both worlds, because the C++ is completely self-contained, and you don't have to do strange loops about how do you get the function exposed in blueprint in C++, because
here
you need to use call function by name, and that will break down every time somebody rename the function. So
yeah, it needs to be U class, right? Blueprint type. Got you.
I still don't understand why we need that at all. Like, why the actor has got functions in it?
What do you mean?
Like, you're a 3D controller, right? Why the 3D controller is just like 3D meshed sort of thing? What does functions do in the 3D controller?
They set materials, they fade them in, they set variables which are fed through to an anim blueprint and a control rig. It rotates, so it sets its rotation as well. What else does it do? Oh, and it fades out and destroys itself as well.
If you open your 3D controller actor one, and you go class defaults, yeah. Can you look into okay, just do class settings. Yeah, like, so what you have to do there, instead of parent class actor, right? David will need to create a C++ class that derives from actor, right? A actor.
Oh, and then I set that.
And then you like reparent that. No, like if you drop down that menu, you can reparent that. Yeah.
Yeah. But and all of these functions would move into that parent rather than in here.
No, they can stay there. I mean, depends. Like if they're public functions, then so David will create a C++, function that can be, can be exposed.
Basically, what I need is this 3D controller master. I'll make as a U class in C++, that we can then, if we wanted to, create like a specific session marker one off of that has like session marker specific like functions and whatnot, that I can then be like and then we just have that as like a class in our C++, right? And then I can be like, then in my session marker component, I'm going to have an actor of class session marker thing that I can spawn.
So it's how I've done it, but rather than this 3D controller master actor, like it needs to be of one of your U classes. But
It's literally an actor. It's a class, and it's basically it's the same similar thing, but it just needs to be in C++, basically. Quite frankly, and then basically any shared stuff amongst all the UI stuff we'll put into like we need to do it anyways. It's like a base UI class, right? That will have all the stuff that we need. And then anything that's shared will go in there. Then we can create our specific classes of like session. If it's a session marker, I want to have place or spawn like do play animation, place animation, or delete animation, or set when you create the object, set these properties to XYZ or whatever. And then I will then in the component use that session marker class, which is a child of this base class we'll create to then do all the UI stuff.
Yeah, so we're not that far off having it like that.
No, not at all. Because it's quite useful, because then all the other stuff, so like the hints and tutorials and controllers, whatever, when in the mission, for example, Dado will then create another class of that, of the base 3D controller for like mission controller or something like that.
Yeah.
Or like, and that can. Or depending on the complexity, we could just use the base one and change stuff around. But I think there's a lot of unique functionality, if I'm not mistaken. So it might be worth splitting them up. Cool. Okay. Where's all this? If it's actually all there, that's tomorrow's task. Oh, that's a fat function. Okay, well, at least I had a class jumping up and printing. Do you want to for me then? Do you want to? Is that all checked in then? All the functions and everything? Because then tomorrow I'll start make my way through. I'll make that class in C++.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, since I've checked it in, I haven't made any changes. It'll probably show that I have because I've been moving things around and showing you, but
Okay, that's
I
fine.
haven't functionally made any changes to it.
I'll put it in the morning if you still want to change. What I'll do then is like similar to the human one. I'll create a in the human motion plugin actually, maybe outside of it. I don't know. I'll create the I don't know what you want to call it. You're gonna call it like UI or like UI master, whatever it
Yeah,
is.
I don't know.
Or like,
It
I
feels
guess, but
weird.
it's specific to the controller. No, that logic is it for the
Yeah,
controller?
it feels
So
weird
I guess
calling it UI
controller.
as well because it's not. It's not like a screen element. It's like a 3D thing in world space.
It's an actor, isn't it? Yeah, actually, yeah,
So
it's an
it
actor.
feels
Sorry.
weird calling it UI.
UI is not actually. Yeah, it is actually an actor. So I guess I'll do like 3D controller, like 3D controller, for example, as the
Yeah.
base, and then we can be like session marker controller or blah 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 controller.
Yes.
All right, cool. That's pretty straightforward. Long. Yeah, tomorrow. I didn't know tonight if you guys want to try and now that we've lined that out, if you guys want to try and do the HUD, design the HUD.
Design it.
Or like I don't know design, but like kind of finalize the design for it.
For the scoring, you mean?
Yeah, well, yeah. Sorry, that's what I meant for the
Oh,
scoring and because then it's like the scoring doesn't have any of the hint stuff, so
yeah, we
that's a
could do
bit.
the scoring and we could move the stamina into the floating thing next to Josh.
Yeah.
Or we could
Yeah.
start at least.
Oh yeah, just as long as if we can iron out the visual for that, it's really
Right.
cool.
I'm gonna go for this and then. Alright.
I don't think that controller thing should take me. Take a day or two. A day.
Are you gonna be doing that tomorrow?
Yeah, I want to do that tomorrow.
Alright, I'll be about all day, so if you
Yeah, I can do
if
that
any of
soon.
if any of it doesn't make sense, just give me a shout.
Yeah, I'll give you a shot if I'm going to any functions. But it
It,
should be like because if
yeah.
all the
It
functions do
wouldn't
what
be
they do, it
surprised
should
me
be fine.
if there's a lot of stuff in there that seems like weird decisions.
No, it's fine. Because then, but what we'll have is because they'll all be U classes. We'll like create like actual like blueprints of them to be able to like assign materials and all that shit, meshes and
Fair.
all that yada.
Alright,
And
I'll be
then
back in a minute.
once they're created in the character, yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
And this back.
Ooh.
So I'm killing the player HUD and the hints. Just the reference of it, not the actual thing from the player character. So I think we can start planning properly our HUD, the new plan, like only showing when it's visible, when it's needed. So there's gonna be temporary disruptions.
Sorry? So, what do you want me to get started on? Get started with-
If you
So
want, I can
design-wise
share
for
my,
the HUD better.
yeah, if you want, I can share my screen and we can go through the
Hopefully then,
actual HUD refactoring. If you guys are up for it. All right, let's do it then. Let me grab the last coffee then of the morning, and then
Can
I
you?
crack on.
I'm gonna
Can I-
drink as well, actually.
Can I pop out?
The madness begins.
Focus this now. How do I pop out? Ah. Oh, but that pops out the whole thing. No, I want to leave it. Hmm. Oh shit! What have I done? Oh, I'm so sorry, stream. What have I done? And then. So then I was doing that. Okay, so now my OBS is everything's back in place. Okay. So can I not? Fuck it.